Hello? Hello? Is this thing on? Oh good. Welcome my furry friends to the first episode of Who's That Furry? Now basically here's the thing. When it comes to the furry community, we have our starts with iconic furries that we grew up with, and there are furries that you don't know about that are extremely badass. So I'm gonna analyze them all to see how these furries not only got recognized to the fandom, but also are underappreciated to some people. How about I start with one that's close to my home country? Spain. Yeah, while I did grow up in the United States, my family came from Spain. And there weren't any furry content, but you have to look deep to search what you're looking for. And this furry is a badass furry who would sniff out a case too dangerous, a furry that wouldn't hesitate to get his hand dirty even when it's in the systems of the law. Who is this furry? That's John Blacksad. Okay, how about a little publication history? Blacksad is a noir comic series created by Spanish authors Juan Carlos Canales and Juanjo Guarnido, and published by the French publisher Dargaud. Though both authors are Spanish, the main target audience for Blacksad is in the French market, and thus publish all Blacksad volumes in French first, then the Spanish edition usually falls like about 1 month later. And both the French and the Spanish loved this character at the time. Of course, a few months later, there was an English translation for every one of the volumes. Rendered in the film noir style, the story takes place in the 1950s United States. All the characters are anthropomorphic animals whose species reflect their personality, character trait, and role in the story. Animal stereotypes are often used. For example, nearly all of the policemen are canines, such as German shepherds, bloodhounds, and foxes. And that's actually a lot better than the pigs. Literally, that sounds a lot more respectful to the police. And while the underworld characters are often reptiles, amphibians, weasels, something like that, female characters are often more human looking than their male counterparts, reflecting those of the bombshells from the 1940s. The comic strip attempts to reflect a dirty realistic outlook and a dark cinematic style through the fairly clean realistic lines. Detailed watercolor drawings included real-life places and cities also contribute to the realistic feel of the series, despite the fact everyone is a furry. Oh, and it gets extremely realistic. You see, due to the fact this was the 1950s, it's obvious that there will be themes of racial prejudice. The problem was, how do you make racial prejudice with furries? Well, the simplest way you can with where they fur. Yeah, you think shows like Beastars or movies like Zootopia with the themes of prejudice with carnivores and herbivores are bad? Yeah, Blacksad cranks it up to 11. And this comic, due to the fact it takes place in the 1950s, it will not hold back with any images, whether it be gore, sex, or race. So viewers' discretion is advised. The main story follows John Blacksad, a hard-boiled private investigator, and spent his time running from the cops. This and his service from World War II, likely for his above-average marksmanship and fighting skills. Also, he spent a year in college until he was dropped out, probably due to the color of his skin, or fur for this case. Like every hard-boiled detective, Blacksad narrates his stories, adding cynical commentary on the evils of the world around him. Unlucky in love, he never seems to be able to form a lasting relationship, and it shows just in the first issue. The moment we see Blacksad, we see how bad his love life is, as a former romantic partner, actress Natalia Wilper, was murdered and shot in the head, and her body was located on her bed naked. The story not only shows how personal this case was to Blacksad, but also how deeply in love with her. And he was so close to lashing out in anger on every single low-life criminal's gun to squeeze out the answers, but he remains his composure and focuses on the case. Eventually he did find her killer and shoots him dead, and he interrogates the dying victim that the real culprit of the whole affair was a frog named Ivo Static, the richest and most powerful businessman in the city, and well, Blacksad went up to him to give him a meeting and shoots him in the head and makes it look like a suicide. And you think that was dark? Baby, that's only the tip of the freaking iceberg. The second volume, Arctic Nation, is where the comic shows its true colors, and it deals with interracial violence and racial segregation of the 1950s in a pseudo-American suburb, and also openly addresses the economic depression, sexual repression, and perversion, all intended to expose a social malice and prejudice that exists beneath the apparently harmonious surface of communities. Observing the aftermath of a lynching on a city street, Blacksad meets his future sidekick, Weekly, a least weasel. Blacksad initially rejects him due to his unpleasant smell and obnoxious behavior. It is revealed that Blacksad is working for an old elementary school teacher, Miss Gray, who has asked him to search for a young girl named Kaylee. Miss Gray believes that Kaylee was kidnapped by the Arctic Nation. About the Arctic Nation, they were well written in the story. It's really well done, and yet it's fucked up at the same time because...
Beep, beep, beep! Oh, sorry! What's that? Oh, that's just a you can't make this shit up alarm! Get out of my brain!
Just by seeing this, it basically shows that this issue deals with white supremacy groups like the Ku Klux Klan. And seeing this makes me wish I was looking at a picture of the Confederate fursuit. Like, this is much worse than this. Of course, Blacksad does save the girl, but he couldn't save her mother. The remaining volumes get even better and better, whether it be fleshing out John's past as he was a World War II veteran with signs of PTSD, and showing more of Blacksad's family, like his sister Donna. Later in 2006, Variety reported a movie adaptation of Blacksad was in development, to be produced by Thomas Lyman and directed by Louis Leterrier, the guy who made the Incredible Hulk movie. It was scheduled for a 2009 release with a budget of $100 million, but that's literally everything we know so far, and we don't know what happened to the project. But what we do know is that Blacksad came back in the form of a video game. Blacksad Under the Skin is available for PS4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch, and I love this game. There are some glitches here and there which makes me need to load the game back to where I originally set off, but I enjoy the narrative of the game. It's like a mix of a Sherlock Holmes detective game with a Telltale story game, and the voice of Blacksad, it's so well done that it actually fits the time for me.
Sometimes when I walk into my office, I get the feeling that I'm walking among the ruins of a lost civilization. Not because of the reigning disorder, but because it feels like the remains of the civilized person I used to be.
Where is the damn detective? I'm gonna rip his head off. I swear I'll tear his eyes out. Hey! Hand over the pictures, you bastard! Now! Otherwise, you're gonna be dead meat here!
Do I know you? Your face rings a bell, but...
You've been spying on me! You took pictures of me with a lady!
Well, then you'll understand why I didn't really focus on your face, right?
Pictures!
I regret it hitting a guy like him. Or at least I bought enough time to aim at his soft spots.
Oh man, you broke my jaw!
Well, now it matches your marriage.
If you show my wife those pictures, I'm dead meat. You'll ruin my life, please!
Sure, the gun didn't work, so why not shed some tears?
I wasn't gonna use it, man. I've never shot a fly. And I'm no two-timer either. It only happened once, for God's sake. I'm just her bodyguard, that's all. She seduced me. I love my wife, honest to God. I even quit the damn job for her. You can't break up a family for one tiny mistake.
That just wouldn't be ethical, would it? If I hide the truth, I deny her her freedom of will, her right to choose.
Okay, how about this? You give me those pictures, and tell her a white lie, and I pay you 10 times what she's offering. You save my family, and you make a pretty penny. What do you say? Deal?
For as long as I could remember, I had collected nothing more than bad gigs, debt, and sorrow. My self-respect and bank account were racing to see who'd hit rock bottom first. There was more than money at stake. The man seemed honest. The best I could do for his wife was to hide the truth, no matter how low it made me feel. All right. I'll tell your wife you're clean. Okay, now I'm a cool. 3.
You son of a...
2.
Wait, man, don't shoot!
1.
You are gonna regret messing with Eugene Colbert. I swear to God you will.
So I think it's a recommend if you want to check it out. Now, is Blacksad a recommended for the furry community? Honestly, I feel like he is if you're into film noir and can handle the strong visuals the comic and the game shows. Like, do you know how much sensory I have to do? But overall, John Blacksad as a character is well fleshed out, and definitely a character you don't mind going to a bar and have a drink with. He might be rough around the edges, but he can understand both sympathy and empathy in some ways. And thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content.